Tighten your lines as we get ready to sail the 7 seas on the Political Pirate Podcast. Join Captain Ted Yoho and the salty dog John Martin as they search far and wide for the greatest treasure of all, the truth. From local Florida news to nationwide stories and the globe beyond, we've got it all mapped out. Now here's your hosts, the salty dog John Martin and Captain Ted Yoho.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 3 Ps, the Political Pirate Podcast, with your host, the old salty dog here, John Martin, and, of course, the captain of our pirate ship, who is on the road, none other than Ted Yoho. Good morning to you, Ted. How the heck are you?
Doing great. I am on the road heading to the Miami airport, flying up to D.C. for a day and be back into the Keys tomorrow.
Well, tell us what you're up to since you're flying up there. Are you going up there to help us or hurt us?
It's top secret, man. I can't share it. No, it's neat. We're developing a business that deals with national security, global health, and food security. And it's an AI model. And we're excited about it. We're going to be incorporating the Hypergator at the University of Florida. And which, if people don't know, the Hypergator is the fastest, most powerful computer of any university research center in the world, and it's the third most powerful one in the world. It's the most powerful one of any research university, and we're fortunate that we've got a connection with them.
Well, you know, the University of Florida, Ted, and we're right here in the heart of it at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Here I am at Celebration Point. People need to check it out if they hadn't been out here before. But, you know, the list of firsts for the University of Florida, I'm talking about academically, sports, you know, we've done well there over the years as well. But a couple of them that just jumped out at me, University of Florida developed the first super magnet ever. And believe it or not, and I had a friend of mine that he's dead now, but he was a professor in this. They reached absolute zero the first time that absolute zero was recorded, which is, people may think what that means, but it's a very specific thing scientifically was done at the University of Florida.
The University of Florida has done incredible work. I mean, a product everybody knows around the world, Gatorade. I mean, that was developed by Dr. Cade at the University of Florida. You've got just what you've mentioned. They've done the first 3D soft tissue printing in the engineering department. Now China's doing that and creating body parts with it. But the different researchers that's come out of there, cutting edge, they've got a cancer vaccine for glioblastoma. And the list goes on and on and on of all the first. And of course, the Hypergator, that computer I was just talking about, is powered by NVIDIA chips, which was one of the co-founders of NVIDIA, which is the most valued company in the world right now. One of their co-founders, Chris Malachevsky, I think is how you pronounce it, or close to that. He makes sure that stays in the lead as far as computers. And they use the NVIDIA GPUs and other chips that they make, which are top of the line. I mean, the best in the world.
And on top of all of that, they spit you and me out, right?
That's right. You got out your first time. I had to go through twice. I had to graduate twice.
I hear you, man. Well, June 1st also kind of unofficially marks the first day of summer, really, and but it is officially the first day of hurricane season. So if you live anywhere in the southeast, you know, you better be prepared for that. Florida was blessed last year, cursed the year before. They're predicted it to be a moderate season, whatever that means. Moderate means it doesn't hit you, but if it hits you, it's major no matter what. And also, it marks time of graduations. I got to share with everybody that I attended my oldest granddaughter's high school graduation in the O'Connell Center this weekend, and I got to say it brought a tear or two to my eyes because I've been messing with her, and from her time of holding her when she was only about that big to now she's a graduate of high school and going to college.
I tell you what, that's another first. And you heard it first here on the Political Pirate Podcast. And congratulations to you, your wife, and your granddaughter.
Absolutely. Well, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show, I always like to just give a pitch out there. If you want to get on board with us, of course, like what we're doing, share what we're doing, but make that call. You'll see Call Freddie. Right there it is on your screen. Call Freddie and become a sponsor, supporter of the mission here and help us keep this thing moving forward. And Ted, tell us a little bit about Archer Automotive.
Sure. And we do appreciate everybody's support and sponsorship. And we really want to give a shout out to Archer Automotive. They're out there in the great little town of Archer, Florida, just west of Gainesville. The address is 15901 Southwest Archer Road. Phone number is 352-495-2485. And they're open from Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. And they can service anything between the front emblem on your car to the tail light. And everything in between. So give them a call. Great work, honest people, good prices.
Absolutely. Well,
and
Ted,
timely.
No doubt about it. And they guarantee their work on top of all
Absolutely.
that. So tomorrow, Tuesday, is primary day in several places, but the biggest one people are going to be looking at is California. And I put it on the title here, is it going to be a miracle or a disaster? And the reason I said that is some comments that Steve Hilton, he's a leading Republican candidate. Of course, they have this jungle primary where basically the top two vote getters, as long as no one gets over 50%, which no one is projected to do that, move to the general election regardless of party. So you're vying for that. And Steve Hilton said it would be a disaster if he doesn't make the top two in the California jungle primary. Now, Ted, this guy, Xavier Beccaria, which you probably are familiar with. I'm not that familiar with him. He's a former attorney general, and he was also in Biden's cabinet, U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary. He's leading now in the latest Emerson College poll at 28%. Tom Steyer, who is a billionaire, but I guess he's one of the good billionaires because he hates Trump, and the Republican conservative commentator Steve Hilton, according to this poll, and I've seen some slightly different, all of them this Beccaria fella is leading in slightly, but Steyer in the latest poll was 22% and Hilton 21%, although I have seen where that was reversed. It's really going to be tight for sure. But what are your thoughts about what might happen in California? We know what should happen, but I got a feeling of what might likely happen. But talk about that a minute, Ted.
No, not a problem. Xavier Becerra, he was served in Congress with me, and just a typical liberal, progressive. And, he's trying to pivot away from that, especially on the gas tax, or not the gas tax, all vehicles in California sold by, I think it's 2050, have to be electric. I mean, that's just an idiotic proposal. I'm here going to the Miami airport right now, and it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lanes of traffic. Stop and go. And if these are all electric vehicles, as LA has worse traffic than here, you get one of them that runs out of battery power, everything shuts down. It's an idiotic thing. So he's pivoted away from that. And of course, he's going to take hits from the left and the AOC types. And, you've got two choices in California. If you like the direction California is going, vote another liberal progressive in. And if you don't like that direction that California is, and you want to get back to, we talked about it on Friday, some form of normalcy, you've only got one choice, and that's Hilton. And keep in mind, these people are only in their position for as long as you let them. And if whoever it is, whether it's Becerra, Katie Porter, God forbid, or Steve Hilton, If they don't perform, throw them out. You get the government you deserve, and you can have a hand in that only if you're educated.
Yeah, well, two things about Becerra that kind of are interesting to me. One from the past and one in the present. I don't know exactly the details. Maybe you may know more about it than me as the captain of the ship. But, and this is saying a lot, Becerra was loathed to a certain extent by other members of Biden's cabinet. And
Oh,
matter of
absolutely.
fact, some of them called him a dummy and all, which is like I say, saying something for that cabinet. But and then the other thing is that he was trailing in every poll. I mean, he wasn't even mentioned until what's his name?
Steve
The
Hilton.
No, the Democrat that dropped out.
Oh, Eric Swalwell.
Swalwell, till he dropped out, till basically the Democrats made him drop out because they thought he'd be a bad general candidate. And then all of a
You
sudden,
think?
Becerra, rose up and all. So, what do you know about him in the cabinet and the controversy? And why do you think he, of all the Democrats in there, rose up? Why did the establishment basically pick him?
Two reasons. If you look at the Republican side, cream always rises to the top. And when you have a good product like a whole milk and you mix it around, the cream rises up to the top. Being a veterinarian, if you do a stool sample and check a dog for worms, you mix it up and all the bad stuff floats to the bottom. So what you have is you had Eric Swalwell, he fell to the bottom. You got Amy Porter, and all you have to do is watch one or two of her videos and you'll see that she's not a pleasant lady. So she's maybe just right there with Eric Swalwell. Javier Becerra, he's a little bit above that. None of the choices are good. It's a race to the bottom. I want somebody that's in that rich layer, the cream layer, that is going to do the things to get us back to some kind of normalcy. And I know you've got that great picture of California with the red line around it, and I think that's very accurate. So we hope that the California voters understand that and get the person that's going to do best, not just for today, but for the generations to come.
Yeah, well, you mentioned about which way California voters are going and that kind of thing. And a lot of them, unfortunately, for the Republicans, because we're going to talk about the LA mayor's race in just a minute, but a lot of Californians are going in the direction of getting the heck out of California. And, I think those are votes that could go for Hilton, or in the case of the LA mayor's race, we got out there, what is his name? Brat. I get his name right here.
Pratt.
Pratt. Yes, Pratt.
Spencer Pratt for LA.
Spencer Pratt. They need out there to get his name right. But LA mayor's race, you see that they have kind of a jungle in a way primary as well. In a sense that if you don't get 51% of the vote, you go to the November ballot. But UC Berkeley LA Times poll released Thursday found that Bass, who is the current mayor, is at 26% among likely voters, followed closely by Ramon. Interestingly enough, Bass has been attacking her specifically, trying to narrow that down. And Pratt, who is a reality TV star but has really come on strong. Of course, his house and his parents' house was burned down in the California fires, which is one of the things that motivated him. But what are your thoughts about that race right now?
I think it'll get tighter as you get closer to it. And I think you're going to see Spencer Pratt really gain some traction here. I was listening to CNN because the other ones had all the commercials on there. And they were talking, and it was really interesting. The guy was talking about, they had Ro Khanna on, and he was saying the reason that the politics got so bad in California is because of Donald Trump and why things aren't getting done in LA and rebuilding the city. He's blaming Donald Trump. And I'm like, these people are so Trump derangement syndrome, they can't get over it. I mean, and so you have people like him that are weighing in on this. And I think he's from Washington State, if I remember right. And it's not Donald Trump. It's the inactivity or the inaction, the incompetence of people like Karen Bass. And they're saying how she loves to get around the president now and get pictures so she can show she's working with the president. And my question is, which president? Is it Donald Trump, the president of the United States, or the president of Kenya? These people, they're not the right people to be in office. And until the American people wake up and say, we're going to throw these people out. And you go back to our founders, and I'm going to say this, they always talked about a moral person with virtues and responsibility. Well, when you look at people, I don't think anybody has that, across the board, the way that it was intended. And I'm saying that when you're electing a politician, they're just like everybody else. But if you know ahead of time these people are like that, throw them out. And that's why they got rid of Eric Swalwell. And Spencer Pratt, I don't know what his background is on that, and we'll find out. But if you don't elect good people, you're not going to get good results.
Well, Karen Bass, the current mayor, her latest attack on the I always get his name right. Pratt. What's his name? Pratt?
Spencer Pratt.
Spencer Pratt. I'm sorry. Out in California, you better get it right. But she attacked him just over the weekend for, get this,
Sure.
Ted, saying he didn't have a plan to end homelessness in L.A. Like, she's the mayor. What is her plan to end homelessness in L.A.? Because it's only gotten worse since she's been there. It's just unbelievable, some of the stuff.
She has spent more money on homelessness and more money on homelessness than she has on helping LA rebuild or the Pacific Palisades. And it's a disaster out there. I mean, it's a broken system. And unfortunately, John, it's just not LA. This is a decay of government around the nation. And it is a wake-up call. We're seeing so many things that are falling apart that shouldn't be. And it percolates down to our small cities and counties. And I know you're going to talk about the government or the tax rollback here in Florida, and I'll talk about that then.
Well, you mentioned when we were talking in the governor's race about Becerra, and you talked about electric cars and how he's backing away from that stance. But it reminds me that you hear the Democrats talk about gas prices. We had the UN, come out and say basically they were wrong about climate change. I trust none of that, because I firmly believe, Ted, that the only reason they're backing away from electric cars or talking about gas prices or pulling back from climate change is because they want to be able to focus on attacking Donald Trump and the Republicans about the price of gasoline at this moment leading into the midterms. That's the only reason, because you can't show me before this Iran war where and I can show you tons of where they didn't, where the Democrats cared a hoot about gas prices, or the only time they were opposed to electric vehicles was when Elon Musk came out for Trump. Everything they say is totally geared politically. I'm not saying the Republicans don't do some of that. A lot of politicians do quite a bit of that.
Sure.
But the Democrats' only focus is on winning. Don't be fooled by any of that stuff.
It really is. And I mean, their top strategist said that. He goes, we don't care about the issue, whether it's right or wrong. We just want to win. I mean, that just shows you who they are. They don't care about the country. And again, it's not all Democrats. It's that liberal progressive mindset. The people that are running the party, the Jasmine Crockett's, AOC's, the Bernie Sanders. I mean, these guys, they're a pathetic type of individual that it's all self-promotion, and they think they're doing the right thing. But deep down inside, I can't believe what they're espousing is really the way they believe. It's sad if it is. I mean, it's just, it's not really what America is. We should all be uniting about the greatness of America and moving forward. I mean, we are the people that went to the moon first. We are the ones that, just what you were talking about, the University of Florida. That's who America is. It's not this garbage going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the latest polls in the LA mayor race has Bass, the incumbent, 26%. This Rahman, who is a member of the city council, and even
is that a noodle?
Yeah, she's even to the left of Karen Bass, if that's possible, at 25% and Pratt at 22%. Although most people think Pratt is surging and is very likely to get in the runoff, and that's why I say earlier I said that Karen Bass is focusing her wrath at the moment primarily on this Rahman lady because I think she thinks her best shot to win overall is to go up against Pratt in the general election. But, be careful, I guess, what you wish for.
It really is. And my bet is you're going to see Pratt surge. He's going to have exponential growth. We went through that in our race. They didn't even pay attention to us, but we worked and we worked and we had great supporters and just a great team of volunteers. And I think you're going to see Pratt do that also. People are tired of the same old inactivity and ineptness of these people. And I think you're going to see that. It's just so evident that they can't go on the way they are to us on the outside. And I guess that's why people are leaving that state. And you brought up a good point. There's so many people that are leaving that want to get out of that situation. There may not be enough voters to vote the proper candidate in. We'll see soon.
Yeah, well, that's why I say, is California doomed, man? I want to play this video because this may be California's only actual hope. And let's check this out.
Gotta be kidding.
That might be. I don't know if Mr. Pratt is the best hope, but I know that Kurt Russell, Snake Plissken, would be the best hope. That's a scene from Escape from L.A. because that might be their only hope is to get the heck out. Or you could do what this next meme I have. There you go, right there. The real border wall needs to look like that, Ted.
Yeah, Gavin Newsom keeps talking about how they're the sixth largest economy in the world and everything should go California's way. And if you look on any product you buy, it'll always say, warning, in California, this product has been known to cause cancer. And I'm like, I don't want to move to California because every product I looked at causes cancer in California. So why would you want to live there? And, they talked about California should secede from the United States. I'm like, I think we ought to vote to remove them from the United States if they keep going the direction they're going. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've been saying all along, California went from the jewel to the stool. And look at San Francisco, one of the greatest cities on the planet. And now you have to have a poop map to get around so you don't step in human.
You really do. That's why I use that analogy of doing a fecal sample for checking dogs for worms. Because the sediment goes to the bottom, and those are the people that are leading in the Democrat poll.
Yeah, well,
they need a good dose of dewormer.
We're going to take a break here in just a second, but before we do, I just want to mention this. Pratt said over the weekend 2 comments I found extremely interesting. One was that he said that moms were going to vote and put him into office because they're tired of the public safety issues, the stuff that's happening in front of schools and all that. I hope that's true. That sounds really good. But then he said something that kind of scares me a little bit because he said he runs into so many people that don't even know how to vote in California. They got various ways, drop boxes and all that, because they haven't been voting for a while because they felt like there was no use to vote. So that one of those is encouraging. The other one is a bit discouraging.
It really is. I mean, this is America in the 21st century, and this is a failure of education. It's a failure of parents teaching their children what to do. It's a failure of our immigration population where people didn't assimilate. And it's a sign of a failing culture or nation. And we have a very short time to get this right because China is they're chomping at the bit on the things that they control. In fact, I'm going up to D.C. The main reason I'm going up there is I was invited to speak at the CFR, which is the Council of Foreign Relations, which I am not a fan of. But the topic I am a fan of, and that is countering China on so many things, rare earth minerals, pharmaceuticals, and policy.
Yeah, well, we're about to go to break here, but I want to quote something that Ronald Reagan said, because I think it's very pertinent to whether or not you vote and vote now in California and in the midterms coming up. Because and I'm paraphrasing it a bit, but he said about the preciousness of freedom and how one generation it could be lost. But he also went on to say that whenever people have had freedom and lost it, they've never regained it again. And I think that's a very strong statement. And that is exactly where we are as a nation. And that's where California is right now, I think.
Yeah, that's not a cliche. I mean, that is for real. And if we don't get this right, I'm telling you, the dark ages are upon us. And, you've heard me mention that book of Chris Stewart, the Miracle of Freedom, 7 Tipping Points That Saved the World. Without the system we have, the constitutional republic and the other liberal democracies around the world, you go back to the dark ages. You're going to have a rise of Islam. You're going to have the Muslification of these areas. You're going to have communism, and those two will work together until there's a victor stomping out democracies. And then those two will fight each other to the end. And China's goal is to be the number one superpower in the world, and teaching their form of ethics, lifestyle. I don't want to say ethics because I don't think they have any, but they want to teach their form of government and form of suppression that you'll have to adopt to.
Well, our goal is to be the number one podcast in the world, if that is possible, and everything.
I thought we already were.
Yeah, number one in my heart and mind, and I know we got a lot of loyal listeners. But if you want to see us reaching those goals or getting those goals, call Freddie, make that call, become a sponsor of the show. And we're going to take a quick commercial break and hear from one of our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, plus you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
And we're back to the 3 Ps, the Political Pirate Podcast, featuring yours truly, the old salty dog, John Martin. Of course, the captain of our pirate ship, if you were tuned into the first part, is traveling. He's catching a flight from Miami to D.C. to help us out there. And he just informed me on the break that it's kind of hectic. And so he might not be able to chime back in. But if the captain can come in, we'll certainly welcome him back. But I will endeavor to persevere. All right.
And you're doing a good job. I'll hang in there until I get tight traffic here. Continue.
Oh, okay. Well, keeping with the election theme we were going, there's somewhat of a surprise that just happened over the weekend in South Carolina. 10 days before the South Carolina Republicans began the process of choosing their nominee for government, the president announced on Truth Social that he was endorsing Lieutenant Governor Pamela Everett in the 6th candidate primary, which is on June 9th. This was a bit of a surprise because a lot of people, Ted, expected President Trump to stay out of this, but he has now endorsed, and we've seen what his endorsement can do. Do you have any thoughts about that? I really don't know, Miss Everett. other than what the president said, was that she was one of his most loyal supporters from day one, and he thought she'd make a great governor, basically.
Yeah, I don't need somebody that's going to be 100% loyal to the president. I want them 100% loyal to their state, their constituents, and our Constitution. When you're running for governor, and his endorsements carry a lot of weight, obviously. But I think he's going to be off on this one. I don't think she's going to win. The other two people in there, or six people, I guess, in that race. I favor Ralph Norman. I know Ralph. Ralph is a member of the Freedom Caucus. He was also, he's just a good guy. He's a business guy. And I think you're going to see somebody else win that other than the one he's promoting.
Well, Ted, as you well know, I certainly know personally, and I laugh about it when I say it, the best person doesn't always win. Quite often it's not. But State Attorney General, this is the latest polling. And I know very little about these people, but I'll just read it out real quick. Attorney General Alan Wilson tops the field with 21%. Millionaire businessman Ron Reddy is second with 20%. This Ralph Norman you were talking about is 17.4%. And the one that surprises me, of course, Miss Evatt is at 13%, the one that President Trump endorsed. Certainly
Right.
she will rise. How much, I don't know. But the one that really surprises me a bit is Representative Nancy Macy. Is it just 13?
Mace. Yeah.
Mace, I'm sorry, Mace. Is it just 13.7%? Because she's been in Congress for several terms now and has a high profile. Some of it good,
She does.
some of it maybe not. But I would have expected her to be in the top two, at least myself. But maybe you know more about it than me.
No, I'm surprised she's not polling better. I mean, I don't think she's far out there, like a Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think she's somebody that you can work with. And, so we'll see. I think it's going to come down to her and that guy that's leading right now. Not Nancy Mace, but the other one. Ralph
Are you
Norman.
talking about Attorney General Alan Wilson?
Is he the one that leads?
He's leading at the moment, but it's really tight across the board.
Yeah, no, I think you're going to see it, him and Mace. But Who knows? It's kind of like predicting hurricanes. I think you're a fool to predict at this point.
I hear you.
Well,
one of the
tell
things,
me when the weather's blowing, and I'll tell you what's happening.
Well, one of the things that may be hurting Mace, which I actually like this about her, but she has been pushing this whole idea of releasing the names of all members of Congress that have participated in that slush fund for sexual deviances or escapades or scandals or whatever. And she's been trying to release those names. And that's the one thing Congress seems to be getting unified on, is not releasing those names. So I say it would probably help her with the general public, but it probably hurts her in raising money and has opposition from leadership because of that. But that's just a speculation on my part.
Yeah, I don't see what the problem is with that. I mean, release the name. It's like the Epstein files. Release it. You're done with the argument. Release it. I mean, I don't know why they hang on to this. UFO files. Release it. The American people, they'll have to work through it, and if they can't handle it, they'll move to another planet. But the drama that goes around this stuff, that's the stuff that wears people out. I mean, the drama. Release the names and then move on to the next thing. Those aren't the big issues in America. The big issues are debt and China. Those are the number 1 and 2, period.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned about the UFOs, and I'm a big UFO fan as far as whether or not they're here or not, all that kind of stuff. I like the Ancient Aliens show and all that.
Sure. I watch Mork and Mindy, Nano.
Here's my thing about that, for the record, okay? First of all, I don't know whether they are or they aren't. I think it's highly likely that there probably is. I mean, there's certainly life beyond us and the earth. If we think that, we'd be the most arrogant thing that ever lived. There'd be, like they said on that one movie, a big waste of space. But here's the way I think: if there are aliens out there and they've come to Earth or they're coming to Earth, I think there's two things to keep in mind. One is they might be holding it back because they're worried about how we'll react as a people to realize that we're not the only bug on the windshield, so to speak. And then the
I think a lot of people would be relieved to know that.
yeah. And here's the thing that I would tell people not to worry about it one way or another, because if you believe in the science of the vastness of the universe and what it takes, look what it took for us to just get on the other side of the moon recently. If there are aliens that are capable of coming to this planet from other solar systems, let alone galaxies and stuff, there's nothing we can do about it anyway. Really, because if you have that kind of technology, you are beyond what we can even dream of at the moment. So I'm not worried about it at all, because if they have that technology, there's nothing we can do about it, Ted.
I've got a similar take to that. I think what it is I think God is hiding us. It's kind of like having the crazy relatives. He doesn't want to introduce us to his sane population that he created. I don't know, until we get some normalcy here in America.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope that wasn't sacrilegious.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I mean, here's the thing, and I didn't mean to get off tangent here, but I will say this. There's no way that humans can know what is on God's mind, so to speak. It's not possible. Think about that. If it were possible, he wouldn't be God. So I'm not taking away from any religious beliefs, but if you think about it, if you're believing in a supreme being, but somehow you can understand God's plan and what's on God's mind, that kind of goes counterproductive to a supreme being. So I say just, be the best version of yourself you can be on a daily basis. Practice your faith to the best of your ability and let God do what God does.
Amen to that. I think he gave us a good roadmap to Moses, the 10 Commandments. Our life would be so simple if people just honored and respected that and followed it.
Yeah, well, following rules is not apparently a human strong point. Certainly not now. Speaking of rules, we're going to move into this next one. We talked about this on Friday's show, but it has only gotten worse, and I call it no end in sight. I want to play this video of the latest escapades in New Jersey in front of that ICE facility, and we'll come back and talk about it. It is just getting insane. I mean, Ted, you saw that one ICE officer hit the person's knuckles pushing those barricades. People need to understand that if that group that's behind those barricades trying to push through, if they got through there, they would literally potentially kill everybody there, burn the place to the ground and all that. They're not peaceful protesters. And there were some counter protesters out there, shouting support of ICE. And of course, the mainstream media, that's what they're focused on, the counter protesters. But even the governor of New Jersey, to her credit, and I don't want to give her too much, actually said that there were a lot of people that were, before these counter protesters coming from other parts of the country, not from the state, and they've set up tents there, Ted, that would rival anything you would see at game day. I'm talking tents that cost thousands to put up are there. So they're clearly being paid.
Right.
They're wearing riot gear. This is not designed to protect those people in that facility. It is, in my opinion, clearly orchestrated to put pressure, keep chaos, and try to destroy the presidency of Donald Trump and win the midterms. That's all this is about.
That's all it's about. And, enough's enough. I mean, People don't want to see that stuff. That's not America. That's the Roy Singhams, the George Soros, China.
Well, it sounds
American
like
people.
Go ahead.
They're not involved. They don't want to see that stuff. Did you lose me?
Yeah, but
Did I
you're
lose
back
you?
now. You're back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, the American people don't want to see that. I mean, that's the stuff they want to get away from. We don't want that. That's not who we are. And it just, people get tired of that stuff, John. I mean, but the media goes after it because it gets views and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's extremely
anyways.
dangerous. It's extremely, and I actually think if you look at that video, considering what they're up against, the ICE agents are using remarkable restraint. I can tell you if somebody was trying to come into my house the way they are, there'd be a problem. One of us would have to go, I'm pretty sure. But
I think so.
Moving on about when enough's enough, and I seem like I say this every day now, Ted. When is enough enough? It is just unbelievable that I ask this question every day, but you kind of have to. This is CNN. I want to keep people in mind. This is CNN talking about this, so keep that in mind. This Graham Planter that's running for Senate in Maine, trying to unseat Senator Collins up there. I mean, it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. Now, his wife has come out, apparently, but she said this before, but it just came out. She went to they're still married. They're working through their marriage. They got issues. That's not my business, but they do. But she went to the heads of the campaign when it first started and told them that her husband had been doing what they call sexting, which is basically using text messages, sending pics, I guess, to
right after he got married.
Other women during the time they've been married, and she just wanted them to be aware of that. But apparently, it's been leaked now. But it just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper because this is the guy, Graham Plattner, with the Nazi tattoo, doing the Heil Hitler here recently. Of course, only Republicans, when they do that, it's Heil Hitler. If a Democrat doesn't, it's not. I mean, it's just insane that this guy is a front runner potentially to be the senator from Maine. It's unreal, Ted.
Well, that's why I say you got to decay the American society, and that's when the collapse of the nation happens. And we have a chance to turn this around, and it's in these next elections. People need to wake up. It goes back to the basics: God, country, and family, rule of law, follow the rules, and throw the other people out.
Well, the Democrats are trying to rally around him. There's a few that are actually questioning it a little bit, and the only reason they're questioning it, Ted, is because they're afraid he might not win. That's the only reason. It's not because they didn't this thing with the text, the sexting, and all. That's bad, no doubt about it. But if the Hitler tattoo and the Heil Hitler and criticizing Jews and white people in general and calling wounded Purple Heart receiving military people, mocking them, he literally said that the Navy SEALs were, and I'm not even going to say the word, starts with a P and kind of sounds like sissy, that they were weak and all that. This is a guy who said all of that, right? But Cory Booker from New Jersey, listen to what he said Sunday. He said he has concerns about Plattner.
Concerns.
His only concern is he might not win. But Booker said on ABC's this week, check this out, Ted. He said that guy talking about Plattner has questions to answer, and that's what campaigns are for. Really? Is that what campaigns are for, Ted? To explain your Heil Hitler, your Nazi, your sexing? I mean, my Lord.
Once you get elected, you can explain all that. That's his concern. If he wins, he doesn't have a concern anymore. I'll guarantee you that right now. And if that stuff hadn't come out, again, I can't believe these are the best people they have to run for political office. But that's a sign of the times. And until we change that, we're going to continue to get that.
Well, I know this is guy here, Senator Chris Murphy, has got to be one of your favorite people, Ted. He told
No doubt.
CBS Face the Nation, check this out. There would, in defense of Plattner, this is his defense of Plattner, there would be a glaring difference to voters between Plattner and Collins. That's the reason why you should support Plattner. You think that there's a glaring difference between Susan Collins, who I'm not necessarily the hugest fan of, her and Plattner? I mean, my God, man, help me here, Ted. I mean, that's the only thing that there'd be a glaring difference, and that's why you should vote for it. It's crazy.
It goes back to what their strategist said. We don't care if the issue is right or wrong. We just want to win. And, that's why you get what you get. I'm going to have to go mute here for a minute.
All right. Well, we're going to totally switch gears here, and we're going to talk about an issue that is dominating Florida, or it will be soon when the people really realize what's happening. That is about property taxes in Florida, because this is going to impact people moving here, probably increase people moving here if it actually passes. But Florida doesn't have their sales tax is not super high, and they don't have any income tax. So the vast majority of regular functioning government, from local to county to state, relies on property taxes. And our property taxes are rising, as you can imagine, but they're still not anywhere near the highest in the country. But Governor DeSantis is pushing a property tax overhaul, and local governments are bracing for it. According to reports, the proposal would raise Florida's homestead exemption, which means if you're new to this area or don't know what I'm talking about, you get a certain, say your house is worth $500,000. I'm just going to use simple math. And that's the taxable value of it. Depending on what your homestead exemption, it might drop down to half of that amount, say $250,000, even though it's worth that much. So it's more complicated than that, but that's the basics of it. But according to reports, the proposal would raise Florida's homestead exemption from its current level of $150,000 in 2027, then to $150,000 then $250,000 in 2028. So if you had a $500,000 home, it would literally cut your property taxes in half by 2028. I don't know if you're back with us, Ted, or not.
No, I'm back with you.
Okay.
And this
so
is
what
an
are your
important
thoughts
issue
about that right now?
Well, it's an important issue that's going to affect every Floridian that owns property. And, we looked at ours, and I think you've heard me say before, our property taxes went from $4,300 to $17,000 roughly. Yeah, we did build a new home that is more. The value is higher, but there's still two people and two dogs living in it, and it's a smaller footprint than the previous home. And there has to be relief. Carol and I were both 71, and things have gotten a lot more expensive. Our income's not like it used to be. And, so for people like us, if we're feeling a squeeze and it makes us pay attention more, what do regular people do? Or people that, working 9 to 5 and have to fight the gas prices, the food prices. So any relief we can get, and of course the promise was to get rid of all of them and all the property taxes. And they're not doing that. It's incremental. And I think there's, I wrote that editorial. I think it's something that really needs to be looked at, because this is something that's going to affect not just our generation, but the ones to come. So I hope we get it right.
Well, they're also leaving it potentially open to eliminate property taxes in the future. It basically just goes up to 2028. It's a constitutional amendment cycle,
right,
if I understand it, which would to place it on the ballot by the legislature, I think takes roughly 60% of them. And then if it gets on the ballot, it takes 60% of the Floridians to vote for it. That is an interesting question in and of itself, because on first blush, you would certainly think that people will vote themselves out of taxation. So, it would
Are you
pass.
blushing again?
Yeah, probably so. But the cities are clearly going to come out opposed to it. Most of them that I'm aware of. I mean, Gainesville, for instance, not trying to pick on them, but they just had a
You should.
discussion. Yeah, they deserve it. They just had a discussion about how they're going to deal with it if it happens, and they're going to raise things like fees, fire assessments, and stuff like that. The biggest fear I can tell you, because there's supposed to be this trust fund that's going to be created and everything else. The biggest fear, Ted, of the cities that I've talked to and I just kind of listened to on the sidelines is that they can't trust the counties. In other words, they think that this trust money and all that will flow into the counties, and then the counties will disperse it to the cities, but then the counties won't do that. And I can tell you that that is a legitimate concern based on my experience, both as a mayor, city commissioner, and city manager and all, that I can understand the distrust of counties in general, because they're going to be looking at their shortfalls as well. So there's some complicated issues out there.
No, there really is, and this is a sign of things to come. You're seeing that at the city level. The small ones I live in, they've got problems there. They've already tapped into their reserve funds, and the town has been mismanaged. And I don't think you need to hire a city manager per se. I think you just hire somebody that was looking out at the for the town's best interest. And I know city managers, there's a lot of great ones out there, and that they have the skills that can lead and spend the money properly for the city and get the results. But I think it starts with the mayor, the person you have that's saying this is what we need to do, and get a consensus to do that. We're seeing this at the federal level. Trump cut, I think, 60% of the National Security Council budget. You've seen what they've done to USAID. They're cutting. These are austerity measures going on behind the scene. The next austerity measures are going to be retirement programs. They're going to be Social Security programs, Medicare and Medicaid cuts, social programs like food stamps and things like that, which I'm all for, to get the people out of that are fraudulently doing that. But this is the beginning of paring back government spending, because we are broke as a nation.
Yeah, well, Ted, my personal experience is obviously with small communities and stuff like that, and they don't have the budgets to do a lot of social services no matter what. So they're very much nuts and bolts. But these counties, I mean, Alachua County's budget now, where I'm sitting, is roughly $1 billion. And that is up from just
Alachua County?
Yeah, their overall budget, when you look at all the money coming in, some of it grant money and stuff like that, I mean, their actual ad valorem kind of budget is more like 700,000. But when you put it all together, it's
must be using Gavin Newsom's financial planner for the city or the state.
Yeah, it's incredible, but the problem I have is that to me, all these social services and stuff, and I'm not saying that there isn't a role for some level of social services, but
sure.
I look at the side of a police car: protect and serve. Your first level of government should be about literally fixing the potholes, maintaining the infrastructure, making sure the toilet's flushed, the water's running, all that kind of stuff, if you have that. And then obviously police and fire and rescue and that type of stuff. And then everything else is debatable, in my opinion. But to me, if you're not and I'm a real simple guy when it comes to this, Ted. If you're not fixing the potholes, if your electricity grid is failing, all these things, the basic infrastructure, you're not doing that. What is the point of government, period? If you're not protecting and serving, what is the point?
Well, you need to get back to the basics. And this is where I've talked a lot about, written a lot about. You've got to devolve from the federal government that which the state should be doing and the federal government shouldn't do. A perfect example are food stamps. Why are we letting a federal program that has no oversight, that's rife with fraud? Why are we putting taxpayer money to them that they don't manage that money? If that was a program at the state level, do you think people would hold DeSantis or the next governor accountable? Like, what in the heck are you letting all this money go out fraudulently? Like Tim Walz did up there. It was a government program at the federal level, so they don't really have any. It's like, it's federal money, it's free money. If it comes back to the state, you dang right, people are going to pay attention to it a lot closer and hold their elected officials. So we've got to go through a transition where we get rid of that. And one you're not hearing about is Betsy McMahon with the educational department, because she is unrolling that program and pushing it back to the states. And I hope she succeeds at it. And again, we only have another 2 years with Trump, because if a Democrat gets in there, it's going to be the education board is back, or the Department of Education's back. The unions are going to control it, and you're going to have all that garbage that came with it, the Tim Walz's, the DEIs, the transgenders, all that stuff that is out of the mainstream, but the liberal progressives want to make it the mainstream.
Well, the issue about the property tax is going to come up in a special session that they haven't actually scheduled yet, but they're supposed to do it after they finish the budget. So we'll keep everybody posted on that. Well, that's going to do it for the show today, Ted. We hope you like what we're doing, share what we're doing far and wide. Make that call Freddie. Ted, you have safe travels, my friend, and certainly help us out here.
Thank you.
I'm going fishing. I'm not going to lie to you. It's the opening of red snapper season. Take us out, sir.
No, I just appreciate everybody listening. You can see we've got escalating challenges in America. That's not a time to give up. It's time to dig in and hunker down and really get involved in these local elections, state elections, national elections. And don't be afraid to speak out, stand up. And saying that, make sure you call Archer Automotive. If you want quality work done in a reasonable time, a lot of times what you would think, and a better price, and just great people, visit Archer Automotive. I've got to go. You guys take care, and I'll see you Friday.
Peace out, everybody.